This is the Polyphemus enclosure, and what I noticed first off are a couple of caterpillars very close to the door. So I look on the back side and they are not on the door, but they're on the protective piece of fabric that this company added to help keep caterpillars off of the zippers. So you can see that the fabric is in fact working. There are no caterpillars on the actual zipper. I will have to be careful when taking caterpillars out and putting them in, just to not knock these two guys off. Alright, so I'm going to start taking these caterpillars out of the enclosure carefully, which, as you've seen, is not always easy to do, because a lot of times these caterpillars will be holding on to multiple leaves at the same time, which is what's going on right this minute. So I'm going to clip that. Now it should be free. Trying to figure out what is going on here. Okay. I had a caterpillar that was holding on to the stem from one leaf and eating another leaf. This guy right there. Here's your leaf, buddy. Caterpillars all over this one. Okay, this is heavy because it has a lot of caterpillars on it. To try to remove them without bothering caterpillars on the side. Empty. Empty. This one is not empty. It has a caterpillar on it. This is empty. I do see a caterpillar on the bottom of the enclosure. Empty. 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 There is a caterpillar on this one. He's a really good example of a caterpillar that is preparing to molt. He's in the molting position, and he has a very small brown face cap there on the front of his face. So since he's the only one on that whole branch, I just removed the leaf that he was on so I can, oops, sorry buddy, so I can throw away the rest. I disturbed the caterpillar that's over here on the side of the opening there. Okay, this is empty. This is empty. This is also empty. 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 So all that I'm seeing left in here are some small leaf pieces, frass, a couple of leaf stems, and one caterpillar. So what I need to do, make some room here on the table and remove the paper towels carefully. And get all that frass just from today. So I'm going to carefully dump that under the table into my discard bin. And this is the caterpillar that I was telling you about, is on the bottom. He's preparing to molt. He's in the molting position, which is kind of face down. So he now has been relocated. And I'm going to carefully put this back in, trying not to disturb the caterpillars that are around the doors opening. Just making sure that I'm not anchoring this branch on a caterpillar, because I don't want to crush anybody if I can help it. Right, so I'm going to spray these leaves. I was going to put this leaf in the enclosure, but I see that it has some sort of worm on it. Don't know what kind of worm it is, but I don't want it going in. You see the worm right there on the paper towel. And I'm gonna start feeding the caterpillars now. They might not eat as much as they have been because a lot of them are preparing to molt right now. Just checking the leaves as I put them in to make sure there aren't any harmful insects on them. Sometimes it's hard to check both sides of every leaf when I'm putting branches in that have multiple leaves on them. but I try to do a good job. For example, this one has a huge leaf on it with some, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 other leaves, all just on this branch. So I'm just going to look at each leaf to make sure that nothing that shouldn't go in there is on them. Actually, I think I'm going to turn this one around this way. I'm just making sure I'm not anchoring it onto a caterpillar. I don't have to spray these leaves because they are already wet. Okay, so I think that is plenty of leaves for these guys, especially since so many of them are preparing to molt. Always make sure that I close this right at the center of the opening with the 2 zippers like that, so that if, let's say, if one of these caterpillars was on the zipper, I could still open the other side. And I did want to show you something that I mentioned earlier. I mentioned the extra piece of fabric that this company uses. The extra piece of fabric is this right here. This is not there in all fine mesh enclosures. And I will try to see if I can find and post a link for where I get these, because I really like this extra piece of fabric, since it really does a great job of keeping caterpillars off of the actual zipper part. So I'll try to look and see if I can find that for you guys. If you can find one with the extra piece of fabric there, it works really well.